every time you put yourself out there for a something, for a job, for whatever, you have no idea how that can lead. That can be the stepping stone for your next gig. You
Oh,
just
you
have
don't
no
know. Yeah.
idea.
I remember when I was the editor in chief of that site. Another person wanted to hire me to write something about online education for him. And I couldn't because I was doing it for the other one. And, so I had two pretty big opportunities come up just from writing a nothing blog on my own site. And, just because my background teaching in so many different universities.
You'd be surprised. And for all those people who say, well, I don't want this job, this is not for me, and I don't think I'm going to go, there's no growth in this job, etc., etc. I've heard this from so many people. And yet you can always find something worthwhile about a job that you have, even though on face value it may look like, I don't think so. When I was doing regular daytime television, and I had friends who were psychologists and sociologists who would continue to say to me, what are you doing this for? You're not even getting paid.
Yeah, I
And
get
it's
that a
the
lot.
stupidest, yeah. And you're not getting paid. And I wasn't getting paid at first.
Hmm.
And you're not even getting paid. And what are you doing? What are you bothering for? But it was from that people found me off national television and continue to offer me one job after another. That's how I became the love doc on MTV. Somebody plucked me off the television. That's how I got a pilot for the Dr. Gilda show. Some producers plucked me off daytime television. That's how I got invited to do all the talk shows on this one network in Canada. And I was flying up to Canada. They saw me, they plucked me off. And then they called me and said, we have this opportunity and that. You don't know. So before any people, particularly young people, thumb their nose at something that doesn't seem like it's the cat's meow, don't don't be misled. You never know. You do a bang up job, you do the best job possible, and it will always lead to something else. And believe me, when I was doing daytime television, I thought that was fun. It was just, I never thought that, I never even thought of it as a business, which I was learned
Yeah.
is a real business. And I learned the business, and I know the business now better than any other business. So,
Well, it's the same kind of thing with having a podcast, having a radio show, different things like that. A lot of people do it for fun, or they do it to build a platform, or they do it for a lot of different reasons. Some people do it to get customers because they interview people that they think will be good connections. For
yeah,
me, I don't, I think it's just a lot of fun and interesting to meet some very interesting people, and it all expands your knowledge. And that's my curiosity coming out in me. But I think a lot of people will go, well, why would you do that for free for people? And because I can, and find it interesting. And a lot of people would want to make a lot of money doing certain things, and you can monetize things and you can do, but that wasn't my interest. My interest was doing whatever. But I think that what you're saying is so important. Of if you really like something, it's almost an internship to learn it. And it's just unpaid internship in a way.
if you look at everything as an unpaid or a paid
Uh-huh.
internship, then you can't possibly lose,
Yeah.
because you just do it because you love it, because they
Yeah.
need your skills, because you have skills that are so important to share, etc., etc., etc. But don't think for a second, oh, this is a dead end, this is going nowhere, I don't even know what I'm doing here, etc., etc. You never know. I what comes to mind that I hadn't thought about in such a long time was, we were in the South Bronx teaching. Now, you're a teacher. It's no big deal. You get your college degree, you get your master's degree, and you're a teacher. Well, the teachers, I was not in there for less than, I would say, a month, when the teachers union decided to call a strike and go out on strike.
Oh,
One of the guys I was teaching with, and we barely knew anybody because we had just started, all of us, and we were young kids. We were all in 20, I was 20 years old,
mhm.
and we didn't know anything about anything. So this guy needed to earn a living, so he started driving a taxi cab. In one of his rides in the cab was a guy who sold picture frames, and who knew anything about that business. But the guy who I was, my colleague, the teacher, was talking to the guy. They struck up a conversation. They met for drinks afterwards. The guy hired him, and he became a salesperson for that company. And he soon became vice president,
Mm.
and he had a new career.
Yeah.
He went back to teaching.
That, that's why I was a Kelly girl in the day, the Kelly
Yes,
services.
right. Are those still around?
They're Kelly services now. They're not, they have to be careful how they word that now. But
Oh,
yeah, but it was the day, where you would work a week somewhere or not work, depending on whether you wanted to take the phone call. And it was kind of a fun thing to do. And I think I told you I had the one job where they called me. I almost didn't take it. It was just one day. And I ended up 20 years working for that company. And you just don't know, you don't know. That was AstraZeneca.
oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
I was their ag chem division I was in first. And then, so I almost would love to do that again, just for fun, to go to work for a company like that, just to go from office to office to see different people and meet
But you
different.
hated that.
I like doing short spurts of it. I didn't want to be there for weeks on end, but I like to
About that as the worst job ever.
Oh no, the pharmaceuticals job wasn't a good match for me. But the job that I got, the one that they hired me first was an ag chem. I was a secretary. I loved that job because it was all secretarial. Because me, Miss Administrator, I love all that. No, it was the best job. I loved it. So but I was in that for 4 years and then 15 plus in the pharmaceuticals, and great company. But I loved working for AstraZeneca. I just didn't like being a pharmaceutical rep. I would have liked being in marketing or something else in pharmaceuticals. It just didn't want to drive around. It's just not a good fit for me. But the Kelly thing was kind of fun because you just get to see all these different offices and just work for a day here and there. And I think that I like to see some more of that, because it's that range. That it's another book I have on the shelf somewhere, but Range is one of my favorite books because you get a little bit of experience in different areas and different things. And the more you know about every kind of different area, the more interesting, the more curious, all that, it just develops. So,
well, what do you think about kids who take off a year and go to Europe? Well, in the days when you could do this, I don't even know if you can do this anymore. But what do you think about?
My brother did that. He took a year off, and it helped him just go back and be more focused. For me, I didn't want to prolong anything. You know what I mean? I wanted to get my degree over.
Me too. I was in such a hurry. I had my baccalaureate when I was 20 and my master's by the time I was 21. And my goal was to have my PhD by the time I was 30. I met the goal. And then I said, what else is there to do?
Yeah. It's just like having kids. Do you want them young or do you want them older? Do you want, for me, I'm thrilled I had them young, because now that we're like buddies and we can hang out together. I have friends that have kids. My kids are in their 30s. My friends have kids in high school, grade school still. And I'm thinking, I didn't want to do it that way. So I think it's just a personal preference,